This is an extract from our AHK Hero Club. We have calls 3 times a week. Please like the video if you learned something.
Problems that I was
Yeah.
finding and how I found to fix. And even right now, like I said, I'm running a team of agents to review the whole thing from scratch. I'm looking forward to their report.
That sounds good. Okay. That's a
So,
very interesting project. It's a great little insight. And that I think is a great way. So you have pre-flight checks. That's one check before doing the stuff. And then we have an after step. That's the way, whenever I tell you that you have to check on both bounds, that's exactly what I'm saying. Before you send in the information, have some pre-checks to verify that the information that is coming in is valid. Pass it to AI, but then when it comes out, have another check and verify that those two things, the input and output match, because AI can produce some errors in there.
oh,
But
you got to stay on top of these LLMs. They're lazy. They'll lie to you. They'll deceive you.
yeah,
I was gonna say, Ray, with some of the stuff you're doing, to me, I would have switched over to like a deterministic way to calculate things based off of numbers. I personally wouldn't have an AI adding them up. I would have tried to find a way to have it write a program that will go add them for me so I can trust it a little better.
Well, I think that's the Python
yes,
program that it's got in there.
Well, I saw some Python stuff, which also it reminded me of like AutoHotkey V1, right? It's probably failing silently, and you don't realize it's not even doing what it's doing, right?
you don't know that it
Like you still
happens.
have things working, so you're like, no, my script works fine. Well, some things may not be working the way you think they're
Yeah,
working.
but that's the point.
You still get results.
Yeah, that's exactly the point. Like you just don't trust it, all right? Don't trust it for a long while. And
I
actually, even after a long while, don't trust it. It would fail. It would fail silently. You will not notice, and it would be a little bit more than a problem for you in the long run if you don't notice the problem, right? That's it.
and the other
Well, I do a thorough review of the final output, and if the final output is what I need, you know, that's
That's awesome.
proof of the pudding. Proof of the pudding.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
other one is depending on where your sources are with the PDF. Personally, I try to stay away from using PDFs, feeding it PDFs.
Yeah.
If you can give it a plain text file,
Yeah.
oh man, LLMs do it just takes up less tokens and it's clearer, easier for them to understand.
Oh,
And you don't have
that's a good idea. So maybe I can have a pre processing step that converts the PDFs into text.
Yeah,
sure you can strip out
and
the
we're not
text
talking
file.
about AI converting PDF to text, but something else, all right? Like
Um,
a deterministic program. There are tools out there that try to extract the text from a PDF. The place where it gets fuzzy is if the PDF contains images, because
Well,
then that enters into
and structure,
OCR territory. Yeah.
because if the PDFs are using structure to help understand what the data is, then you might leave it as a PDF because you'll lose usually unless you're using the Adobe Acrobat to convert it to a text file. It'll lose that structure, unfortunately. It just converts it to plain
Yeah,
text.
that's
Most
right.
of them, and it's just bland, and it's harder. It might be harder for AI to grab the stuff correctly. In that case, I would leave it, right? But it's at
Now,
least worth thinking about.
what what I've been because I'm not all that clear on this, I OCR a PDF. Does an OCR convert an image inside a PDF into text?
Well, it gets
Scribes.
you know what's really funny, Ray? Like right now, even if you took a browser, well, if you opened a PDF and often they open with browsers, right? I literally couldn't even tell you if the darn thing inside it is a picture, if it's text, what, because the browser itself does OCR as well and will make it where you can select text, but it's really a picture. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
really hard to tell, but tools the free tools that we use, like Ghost something, right? There's 2 or 3 PDF to text, I think is another one that will
Yeah.
dump the text to a text file crazy fast and cheap. Um, that's where it doesn't, those aren't normally doing OCR, and you can kind of figure it out that way. And plus the file size usually too, right? I mean, if there's a picture, it's usually a much bigger file. But here's the other thing to realize. This is from watching one of Nate's videos. He talked about PDFs. They have unhidden things like headers and footers and other stuff that we don't necessarily normally see, but the AI doesn't know to not pay attention to those, and they'll get confused with those things.
Yeah.
Right. So that's where sometimes you can get better results by having a text file instead of a PDF, because there's stuff that you don't even realize is there that the AI is looking at, because that's what it was looking at.
So Ghost, PDF to text, and Adobe Acrobat, I should look at those two.
Adobe Acrobat's crazy expensive to get the COM object to convert a PDF to text. Like, $350 or $400 or something. I forget how much, right? Which is why most people get the free alternatives. And I think it's Ghost Script. Is that what it's called? Do you remember?
Yeah, Ghost Script is one of them. Yeah.
And I think PDF to text, if I remember. I'm going to have it in a folder I can go look at. But those are two that they give really good. They dump the text very quickly. But again, you'll be surprised when you take a PDF and convert it to text. The text you get, when you lose the formatting, a lot of times, and it's what's funny, Ray, is just think of it as you. When you struggle to go look at a plain text file and you have to make sense of it because now it doesn't have the structure in a table or something, right? It's hard. Well, AI is going to have the same problems, right? That's why it might be better to leave it in PDF, depending on how it, look at some of your examples and see how they look after you do it.
Okay, good.
I
idea.
just thought, I guess I was wrong. I thought you were creating the PDFs in the first place, and that's why I was thinking, hey, if you have the option,
Yeah, well, he is creating the output PDF, right? But not the input. So he has a lot of input that are PDF files, is what I understood. And then he generates one at the end.
But like the Homer Simpson emails PDF. I would have thought you'd be creating that. Maybe I'm incorrect.
Well, what I do there is I go to Outlook and I do a print, and it prints out all the emails to PDFs.
Okay.
Yeah, see, you could
that I would do.
the COM object to dump it to text. Super easily.
Oh, that would a COM object. What does that mean, a COM object?
Well, I know we've talked about COM for years, right? But I know the COM object is if you're using like Word or Excel and stuff, they have a COM object that you can use same as VBA does. It's the same COM object to access the file programmatically and grab what you want.
Yes.
It's crazy fast, super reliable. It's also, because it's dot notation stuff, it's not really hard to understand compared to learning a lot of other stuff. I found it very intuitive on average.
Okay, so I'm lost when you talk about COM object. What program would I use to take the emails and put them out?
Let me summarize it, and actually this would be good for anybody who wants to do programmatic approaches of automation. COM objects are a tool that the operating system gives you. They are objects that are available for you to connect to, and they behave the same way. It doesn't matter which language you pick to connect to them, right? So if you use AutoHotkey to connect to the COM object, it would behave exactly the same way. Well, within reason, okay? It will look native AutoHotkey code for us, but if you connect with it using Python, it would use native Python syntax, all right? So, but the object itself behaves the same no matter which language you choose to connect with it. So it's just an interface that the operating system gives you. So how do you connect to them? Well, in AutoHotkey, you have commands that allow you to connect to those, like COM object connect, or COM object active, or COM object to create a new object. So there are many ways. If you want, you just ask AI, hey, guide me a little bit about how to use COM objects in AutoHotkey. And it would give you kind of like a step-by-step intro to it. Because we have been using COM objects in many of our demos during the presentations here in the Hero group. But I do understand that if you have never worked with them, it feels weird. But once you get the main idea, they're just like normal objects. Have you ever used any objects in your code? It like the GUI object, the same. The only thing is that you have to connect to it before using it.
But again, what program would I use to pull the text out of emails?
No. So think of it as and Isaiah has told me this for years, it's a translator, right? It's a local thing. If you have Outlook installed, you can use the COM object to connect to Outlook. It's just something that comes with Windows. It'll be on your computer. Like, so there's the
there is
COM
no
object.
additional program.
Okay.
So it's not, yeah, to your point, it's not a program, right? You're using, think of it as a local DLL on your computer. Because here's the really cool thing that Isaiah told me, explained to me years ago. The DLL is a file filled with functions and resources to a given like exe that has the ability to do stuff, methods and functions, right? Now, a COM object is based often off of that DLL, but may not have all of the functionality in that DLL. It's what the developer said, hey, here's some stuff people are probably going to want to do, and they'll build a COM object that can do a lot of that same functionality, but it opens it up to where people can programmatically connect to it and tell it to go do these things. Does that make sense? And it's so much simpler because a DLL, when you try to program a DLL, I don't touch them. Like it's, I mean, I'll have for these guys.
Let me give you, Ray, a concrete example so that you go with at least an idea of what I mean by this. All right. So here, if you want to connect to Excel, right? I can create a COM object very easily for Excel, mainly because I already have Microsoft Office installed on my computer. But even if there are some objects that are very similar to this, and I just say COM object, and I connect to Excel.application. That's it. I just connected to the Excel object. Especially if this one creates a new object for the Excel application. Now, this name right here depends on what you want to connect to. For example, Joe was mentioning something about Adobe. Well, Adobe will have its own little name. And for you to access that, you will have to have the COM object in your computer. Now, what I'm saying is the idea of COM object is not something that you have to install something for, but the COM object that you're connecting to, yes, that depends on the application. For Outlook, I have to have Outlook installed. For Adobe, I have to have Adobe PDF installed, Reader installed, and so on and so forth. There are some COM objects that you don't have to install anything. As soon as you have a new Windows computer, you can say HTTP COM object. Oh, actually, I should have it in my, yeah, there it goes. So I have a hot string for it. If I say COM object, win HTTP request 5.1 like this, that, it connects to an HTTP object that I can make requests to any website. That I do not have to install anything for it. Most Windows computers have that. Actually, I could probably say all Windows computers at the moment from 10 up, I could guarantee they have it, right? And even older, right? I just don't want to be like saying it and being wrong, but I would say it doesn't matter which Windows computer you do this on. Now, AutoHotkey has this syntax to connect to the HTTP. And then from there, you can say open like this, open, and do many other things. In Python, maybe you have a different way to connect to the COM object, but you still can connect to it. You can still connect to the WinHTTP object in Windows in Python, probably not with the same name, COM object. And probably the way how you use the methods is not how we use it in AutoHotkey. but you can still use the methods in Python. All right.
How,
So
how, how would you connect to the Outlook COM object to pull out the text from the emails?
we have examples of that. I think, Joe, you can send him a link to the videos that we have on that.
Now, and here's the thing, right? We've done webinars. Two, I think we featured. One was where Excel actually we used Outlook, and the other one was straight on with
Ja,
Outlook.
en
They're
heb je
in
nog van
V1. However, the COM object stuff, when you compare V1 to V2 in AutoHotkey, it's almost identical. Like there's
Yeah,
so
it's
little
almost the
differences.
same.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll look forward to that.
Yeah, we're gonna send it on the hero group.
I'm
What can be
walking
some-
away. I'm walking away with what Joe said, that a COM object is a collection of functions that the developers thought people would like to have, but don't want to make available for the casual user, and that it's like an API where
It absolutely is.
where you can tell it commands.
When I think of an API, Ray, that's my perfect example is a COM object, right? It's a programmatic way to utilize. And what's really cool, Ray, like let's say with Outlook or with Word or Excel, you can do stuff with those programs without even making them visible, right?
Yeah.
You can keep them invisible. You can open files, transform them, do stuff, extract stuff without even making them visible, which speeds up everything because there's no GUI to support it. But it's such a game changer. It's hard to explain of like how powerful it is.
How do you find out what a COM object can do? I guess documentation.
Well, that's a great question, but if it is from Microsoft, okay, if it is from Microsoft, like Excel, Outlook, PowerPoint, or others like WinHTTP request, we can look them up on MSDN. But the problem there is MSDN is a resource for C++ developers or C# developers, actually real developers, I would call them, right? Like the people who are actually doing the job, right? So that documentation is extremely dense and difficult to understand. So if you want to know what it can do, you can go ahead and check on it, but I don't know. I would rather, and I do this for the Windows RT. I use AI. I tell AI, okay, so I want this object, search for this, and tell me what it can do. It's a little bit simpler than going through the documentation. Just remember, AI can fake stuff.
Also, Ray, what you might do is like for Excel, we have our Excel function library because not everyone works with objects, right? So I pretty much insisted like let's have an Excel so people who don't understand objects can still use the Excel function library. Now, ironically, we here at the Automator for our Excel function library did the same exact thing. We took some of the methods in properties in the COM object and pushed them into the Excel function library, right? We didn't pick everything because there's 8 million things in the Excel COM object that you can do. But we said, hey, how do I open a file? How do I delete rows? How do I dedupe something? How do I save the file? How do I add a header? Like we added the things that we use a lot, right? So that, and then they're just in functions, which I know you've been working with functions, like with AutoHotkey, right? So it's really easy to do. The second one, of course, is our objects course, covers the COM object and how to use COM objects.
Okay, well, thanks for your ideas. I will
And
follow
good job
up.
on what you've done, right? Isaac's and I both weren't trying to critique your overall thing. To me, I was thinking it's both. It's a bit of both. I'm worried about AI doing, which clearly you understand that, doing what it says it's doing. And the second one was the cost, like how much you're using it, where sometimes some of that stuff you might be able to do with a language instead of using AI to solve the stuff. You use a programmatic way of Python or AutoHotkey or whatever to save yourself some money and hopefully increase accuracy.
For me, it's mainly also the reliance on what the reply from AI is.
100%.
This seems to be tied to your work. So basically, whenever you send that out, you're relying on that the information is valid and correct. But we have seen again and again, up to this point, we don't know in the future, soon it's not going to be like that. But for now, AI makes some pretty annoying mistakes that you cannot easily solve, and also they're not easily spottable. So that's why I'm just a little bit worried on that front.
The other thing, Ray, have you seen Jurassic Park, the first one with Jeff Goldblum?
Yeah.
You remember that when he's the mathematician guy, right? And he's like, "How many dinosaurs are there?" And they're like 274. Look, we find them. And he goes, finds 274. He's like, "Well, you told it to look for 274 dinosaurs. What if he set it to unlimited, and then they found a bunch more, right?" Where I'm again not knocking what you're doing, but you're right in your approach. You're telling it, go look for this, go check this, but there's so many other things that maybe you should be looking for also, right? Like that's where it gets to be hard to, which is great. You have those agents kind of, I think, reviewing your work right now, right? That's
Yes.
good. It's better than nothing, right? But again, you're trusting
Right.
AI to reinforce AI, But hey, it's better than nothing.
Yeah, it's a good thing. Just don't be complacent. AI is still a tool that can fail, and right now it is failing more than humans. Hopefully, at some point, it fails less than humans in certain areas. And when that is the case, because there are some other things in which it doesn't fail as much as humans, right? There's a lot of things that it does that it does it better than humans. Math and numbers and creating those things and keeping context, it's not one of them. Not because computers cannot do it. It's just because LLM is weird. We don't know how it does what it does, and we cannot fix it. So whatever it's doing, it's just doing it, and we cannot know, right? So for that reason, whatever he's doing, just pay attention to it. As you said, like review the final document thoroughly, and if you trust it, then send it. But never send it without looking. Is what I would do.
I have the following amendments to what I heard. I was some minutes late today, so the first half an hour, Ray was explaining something. I suppose it was about Claude Code, yes or not?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, I used also Cloud Code this week, and in fact, I heard Isaiah and Joe talking about three disadvantages of Cloud Code. In fact, I use Cloud Code to make a program. Then I only use during that process. I only use sample date, not the real date, but sample date. So that's one of the objectives of Isaiah is don't offer your own date to AI. Okay. Then I let AI make a program. It's in fact this week I was busy with JavaScript, but it can also be an AHK program. Then when you have the program, then you can do it in your own machine. You have your data in your own machine. You don't give it to AI, so it's stable. The second thing is when you do it with AI each time, you have to go to the whole process each time, and you have to check each time if AI is doing it well, yes or no. When you have a program, then you are sure that it is repeatedly okay. So you don't have to check it each time. So don't use AI to make something a PDF for you, but use AI to make a program for you.
Right.
And then you can use the program each time. And then the third thing is what Joe was questioning about is the cost. When you do it by AI each time, it costs you each time the money. When you have a program, you do it in your own machine, and it costs you nothing. So
that's a good
so
point
let AI make a program for you, that's much, much better than using AI to make a PDF for you.
I will totally agree with that. And actually, the way how you can think about it is if you have something that you give it one input and the answer is always the same, like you say, if I give you 5, the answer is 25. And it's always the same like that. Okay. For example, your calculation of the hours. If you give it 5 times, 5 different calculations, you get an answer. And if you give it again, those same 5, you should get the same answer. At that point, you're thinking about something deterministic. And that means if you give it one input, you always get the same output. That is best done by a program. You tell AI to write a program to do that because it will always be the same. And now we don't have to send that data to AI. It is, as Nick said, it's going to save you money. It's going to be faster. You don't have the uncertainty that sometimes it's going to be right, sometimes it's going to be wrong because it's a program. Now, you do that for each step that you identify that is deterministic and only send to AI when there are things that are fuzzy. Okay, so I'm going to give you a PDF, but I want you to extract the data and convert it into a JSON file. Yeah, that PDF can be in one way, but the other PDF can be in another way. But I want the JSON structure to remain the same. That's where AI might be a better fit because that is not deterministic in the sense of I don't really know the structure of the PDF. So I would have AI figure it out for me and give that. Another place is when AI is going to create the narrative. You don't want the text always sounding exactly the same. You want it to sound a little bit different. Well, AI is really good at coming up with synonyms and antonyms and stuff, and it would create a narrative that sounds a little bit different every time. That's where AI is really good at. But deterministic stuff like math and okay, grab these 5 lines and flip them. It's always the same. I'm going to give you 5 lines and flip them. It's always the same action. A program is better for that. Saves you money. Is more stable. Is better for you in the long run.
And then another thing I want to mention. Ray also mentioned it already this week with Telegram. I'm using Claude with as a pro user, so I pay $20 a month. But I get an announcement of Claude that Claude 4.6 Opus 4.6 is out, and the first month you get a $43 free account. So for everyone, I don't know if it is also for the free users, but at least for pro users, you will get the first month a $43 free account. Maybe it's something for you.
Yeah. Good. Okay, I'll look into that. Good.
One more simple thing that maybe you've already done this, right? Because what I would also consider, if you have past cases or things that you've worked on where you figured out all the stuff you just said, go dump those through it as well. You know the outcome, what it should be, right? So try one that you figured it out and see if it matches.
Yes, good idea.
And the alternative is, which sounds kind of cuckoo, run the same after you finish one, run it through again and see if you get the same thing twice, right? Like, which you're maybe already doing that one, but
good idea. Good ideas. Lots of good ideas.
Great job, man.
Yeah, I've seen that happening to me a lot, that you give it the same thing twice and you get different results. And I'm like, yeah, it's annoying.
And there's some things it's okay if they're different, right? The phrasing of a certain term, but the count of hours you're billing, maybe not something.
Or something medical like what we're doing with
like, wait, I need more hours. Let me run it again. Maybe it'll give me more hours and I just bill that.
No, but in our situation, when we're working with the radiologists, I cannot give it one thing and get 2 different things at the end. It should be the same thing every single time. See? So it is, we've moved away from telling AI, here's a thing, tell me what it is, to, here is the thing, put it where I want you to put it. Because we figured out it is better at placing the stuff in the correct position than giving me the correct answer. I figure out the answer, you place it in the correct spot. That has worked out extremely well for us, you know?
And I know you know this today, but I'd just say for now, right? Because AI just keeps getting smarter and smarter. And these both OpenAI and Claude on the same within an hour of each other both released newer versions of their models, right? And this last week, I've been cranking out amazing projects with the stuff. It's doing really phenomenal stuff. So I do think it's getting smarter and smarter, right? But and even then, I don't know if we'll ever feel 100% like it's on data from Star Trek, right? Like that you can rely on it so perfectly. Maybe in a couple years we'll have that.
Just as a last comment to give you an idea of how this has improved, it used to take me 3 days to put together the docket, and I wouldn't do the narrative summary. Now I've been doing three in one day, and the quality is like 50 times better. So
yeah.
nice.
Which is a really good point too, Ray, is even when you were doing it yourself manually, right? And you were doing it sounds like a fraction of what you do now as far as the reporting, the actual stuff. But also you're human. You'd probably made mistakes too, right?
Oh,
So you
the
can't just say
cognitive
that,
load.
yeah, you can't just say that even though AI might make a mistake, well, if I do it'll be perfect. No, not
No,
necessarily.
exactly.
All of us,
But
right? Like
I do want to comment on something. People have been saying, no, AI is going to take our jobs and whatever, right? For developers. But Ray, you just mentioned by mistake that you have been developing this for 4 months. It's just you're not using programming code. You're programming. It's just in a different way. I would say what we're gonna get are people like you. So programming just opened up for a wider group of people. The only problem here is if you don't know what AI is doing on the background, it's going to be very hard. But it opens up for you to get stuff done as a programmer would. If you would have commissioned that to a programmer, they would have charged you a lot of money just for that application, right? So the fact that you could do it yourself is a great situation. I'm going to step up for a few minutes. I'll be back in a bit.
And Ray, you got exactly what you wanted. I mean, if you went to a developer, you probably wouldn't have gotten exactly that. You probably would have made compromises.
Yes.
Yes, but I want to say the following. I have been a developer for 40 years. I know JavaScript, I know Python, I know AHK now, and I know about 20 languages. But this week I made a program in JavaScript without programming. The programming was done completely by Claude. So when I'm going on with this, I'm sure that in at most 2 years I can't. I'm. It will be impossible for me to look if what Claude is making is right, yes or no. And that's the problem in the future when developers are using Claude. They are not developing themselves anymore. So we have no developers anymore at some time. That's what I'm danger. That's what I'm afraid for.
I would argue though, Nick, it's just early on, when computers came out, they were only the most nerdiest of people, programmers writing stuff at a very, very core level, right? And it's just slowly over time become more and more obscured where less talented, skilled people could do stuff, right? And this is just another extension of that, right? Because in reality, all gets converted to ones and zeros, right?
Yes, but even in what you are telling, Joe, then each one it was easier, but everyone who learned it could tell what the program was doing
Yeah,
at
but
some point. And what I'm saying is that at some point, no one will be able to tell it anymore because of its.
yeah.
They. I'm not programming anymore myself. I'm just telling
But we'll have
AI what
yeah,
it is going to do.
but we'll have AI to tell us what it's doing.
Yes. And if it is doing it okay, okay. But if it is not doing it okay, we have the mod bot.
Well, yeah,
I'm afraid for things like that.
100%. I'm with you there. Yeah, but it does show you the amount of interest in people wanting to open AI up to get it to actually take action and do stuff, right? Like there's this crazy demand, but I'm with you. I'm like I wouldn't jump on that thing. It scares the crap out of me.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we're not perfectly aligned, Nick, but we're pretty close. Yeah.
Okay.
I get your point. I'm not disagreeing with your point overall. It's just, it's another tool, and I totally understand. But
Okay,
here's
okay.
I'm gonna tell you
It's a
how it
tool. It's a tool,
works.
but it's a tool that we can't understand anymore at some point.
I
For
I
for for example, my father was a camion driver. I learned to drive the camions in the old session. Then we have a so-called double clutch. So you have to when you
yeah,
want to go to another gear, you have to free it and then to the other gear. But you have to do it at the right speed. If you didn't do it on the right speed, it was going a lot of noise. Nowadays, we are used to automates,
right,
and people can't drive anymore with those old.
right. But since there are
That's what I'm afraid of.
yeah, but my point would still be, Nick, even though I agree with you. I've been ironically wanting to find a car that's a stick so I can teach my son how to drive on a manual, and I can't find one. But I think that serves the point too. It's almost irrelevant because I can't find one. So he doesn't need to know because they no longer exist.
Yeah, exactly.
You see where I'm going with? It's still the same argument, I think. If AI can do all the programming, and I think we all agree it's going to be better than any human very soon, where to your point, we can't even understand the code because it's so
Uh,
good and complicated.
I'm, 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 I agree with you what you said. Just AI is giving me solutions which I was not able to
Yeah,
make already, but I can follow it. I can see it and I can judge it.
yeah.
But at
Yeah,
some time, I'm not possible anymore to judge it,
No.
and that's
Well,
that's
and Nick, this is where I think for you, this is Connie and I were chatting maybe a week ago about this in general. You and Isaias, for compared to Connie and I, you're in a whole way different level, right? You guys view AI very differently than how we view AI, right? And
oh yes, I'm sure, I'm sure.
so for me, I'm like, which actually Isaiah said Ray is doing stuff, programming that he was never. I'm like, it's for me. I'm doing crazy stuff now.
yeah.
I would usually have to wait for Isaiah or Irfan to be available, but I'm cranking stuff out like crazy, and I'm like, is it perfect? No, but it's pretty darn good. Yeah. All right, let's wrap it up just so I can stop the hour and um. You see here. Stop recording. Explore our huge library of 466 plus hours of recorded AHK tutorials. Watch, rewind, and master tricks at your own pace. Get insider savings, 25% off courses, scripts, and done-for-you AHK jobs, making premium tools affordable and accessible.